Coming up, a Sad Styles production.
Get into it.
And welcome to the Retrograde video game podcast, where this week we talk about the most anticipated games of 2024.
My name's Andrew Bascom. With me, as always, is the bad boy of podcasting, Mr. Bebop himself.
Mikey, the Prophet Aaronworth. The Prophet Aaronworth.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
It's
always my second one.
You're always on a good stretch of second take. You're like, nailed it.
But the second take, Andrew, is good.
The worst part is, and I need to let everyone know at home, all you D-pads, we don't do a second take. That is Mikey figuring it out on the fly. We could so easily do a second take.
You think getting close to 300 episodes, that's right, getting close to 300 episodes, I would start writing these things down before we hit record, but it's just become part of it that I try to figure it out on the fly.
It's like somehow that like I pop in with podcast equipment, wake you up from a dead sleep, I'm like, we're recording. And you're just like, yeah.
You pop in with that. I pop in with a haven't you people ever heard of closing the goddamn door.
Yeah, you're a huge Panic at the Disco
I'm
guy.
a huge Panic at the, and you know what? I'll panic at home.
Yeah.
I'll panic at the disco.
Yeah.
I'll panic anywhere I goddamn please.
See, we live in North America, so discos are not a huge part of our life anymore. But if you ever went to like, you know, Europe, they still have discotheques and stuff like that. Or in our experience, it's always like when you're young and you go to a resort in like the South, in Mexico or in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Where, you know, low rent one. They'd be like, you know, we've got a discotheque on the resort here. And you're like, at one point you're like intrigued. You're like, that's interesting. Maybe I'll go down. And it's guaranteed to be the saddest place you've ever been to in your life.
But with the best answers. They're really good.
Yeah,
they're really good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do a discotheque the way they do it, because they'll do it in like the middle of the goddamn day.
Yeah, that's true.
Like sun is blaring hot and you walk in there, you're sweating from the heat from the heavens.
Right.
God is shining down on you, and you walk
with
into
judgment.
With judgment.
Don't
You
dance.
Go into a dark room shaded away from his scorn. And you just have to start
cave,
shaking your booty. Like, what are you talking about? Andrew, I'm very excited. I love this episode.
Yes.
We did a similar thing last year, and by thing I mean predictions episode, or most anticipated episode. 10 of the games that we're looking forward to in 2024. We did this in 2023, a scant 365 days ago or so.
Yep.
Now, I want to bring this up because there's an elephant in the room.
There is?
No. You can stop. It's the metaphor. It's
it's a
completely
metaphor.
It's a complete metaphor.
Very good.
Yeah. Just don't open that closet.
Okay.
Okay. Technically,
There's
not
a lot of
the
peanut
room.
shells coming out of your closet. Okay.
We did this, and a lot of the games that we chose for our top 10 didn't end up coming out in 2023.
Classic video games.
Hey, how about this? Turn in your assignment on time.
Yeah, not this dog ate my homework.
None of this dog ate my homework, because you know what? If I were a child, and I was once, I know like this
for a very long time.
For a very long time. In fact,
a surprising amount of time.
Some may argue 99% of my today life. No, if I were in school and I didn't, and the teacher's like, here's the due date, and I was like, gotcha, gonna need another year.
yeah. That's not the way it works.
Of course, I'm kidding. I want video game development companies to take as much time as they can to bring out a game. We've seen time and time again what happens when you rush it. Cyberpunk, and by we've seen what happens when you rush it. It means 2 years after release, you win Game of the Year nominations.
We nailed it finally, and everyone goes, and instead of the scorn that you think you'd get, everyone celebrates you.
Yeah, what is this? Walking into a discotheque?
Yeah. Can I give you more money, Cyberpunk?
More scorn.
Which is actually something they did. You know, it's funny we say that though, because there is a stigma attached to these. And I have a couple of these for the anticipated game of the most anticipated games, is going like, this has been delayed 4 times.
So I chose a different route. Okay. I said, if I've already put it on my most anticipated list, I've removed it from contention.
Interesting.
Now, that's tough, because what would have been very close to my most the top of my list, a couple games at least, are no longer there. There are 3 specifically that I didn't include on my top 10 list because I had them on last year's list.
I have as well. I have a couple as well, and they all fall into other things, because we also are going to say what we think will be the most surprising game of the year off of these lists, and maybe some of the most disappointing games.
Yeah, we want to kind of wax poetic about what we think is going to go on in the gaming industry, some letdowns and some surprise trends that are set potentially. So the number one most anticipated game I had of last year.
Oh, of last year
was we're just getting into
I was like, Jesus Christ, you're gonna go with number one?
Was Hollow Knight 2, a game which absolutely I would assume is going to come out in 2024. I don't know when. They haven't announced that yet. I'm hoping it's one of those like day one releases where like, hey guys, turn on your Nintendo Switch. It's there.
Yeah, or your Nintendo Switch 2.
Your Nintendo Switch 2, yeah, which is something that we can talk about in a little bit. Just a kind of a potential iteration on the Nintendo Switch.
I don't know.
What are your thoughts on that? Actually, let's do that quickly.
Yeah, sure. It's very Nintendo to go like, hey, guess what? New system.
Yes.
Coming out next week. And you're like, whoa, what the hell? It felt like a lot because Super Mario Wonder kind of did something relatively similar.
Yeah.
They gave us like a 10-day heads up to go
a game that wasn't on, not quite 10 day, but like only a few months, like a game that didn't make our most anticipated list because it wasn't announced as of the making of our 2023 list.
Yeah, we had no idea that a new Super Mario game was coming at that point. So, it wouldn't shock me that Nintendo to do something very similar. Yeah. You've heard very sketchy, Nintendo's a very secretive company. They're more private than a lot of the other public companies that, like Microsoft and Sony and stuff like that. So you don't know full details of it. And the details coming out are very sketchy, but you're right. It's not a full new system.
Yeah. They're saying it's more of an iteration, which is something that I just don't understand. Now we're getting into this realm of like, the Steam Deck is entering the marketplace at a rate that maybe Nintendo didn't expect from a handheld perspective. You got the PlayStation Portal.
Yeah. Do you think that's actually going to become a thing or no?
You know what? I understand the appeal.
Okay.
What I don't like are people being like, hey, look at my new PlayStation Portal, and they just take a picture of their Steam Deck. Because it's like, there is something to having a first party device accessory that works very well in doing one thing. If I only have a PlayStation 5 and I want to be able to play my catalog from Wi-Fi, I can see it making sense. I was very much a detractor of it, but I understand the appeal. You can play your PlayStation catalog as long as you have Wi-Fi, steady Wi-Fi from anywhere in the world. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I have just seen nonsense like this from Sony in the past.
Yes.
That has had almost no cultural impact whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I worry that they are just trying to do something so they have something relative to compete with.
Yes, I agree. It's definitely not a competitor of the Nintendo Switch because it's not like you can download games to it and play them from there. It's not a competitor to the Steam Deck, especially because the Steam Deck can do what the PlayStation Portal does with its own proprietary software. But I think that in this landscape that we're getting where portables are coming back into the conversation, potentially Microsoft announces something similar, Nvidia might get into that space. If that happens, Nintendo is now significantly underpowered if they don't do anything to boost the juice. We are sponsored by Booster Juice, by the way. I should say that. We do have to fit that into our conversation.
A local chain of smoothie restaurants.
Yeah. Think Orange Julius.
Yeah. But trying to convince you it's healthy.
Yes.
And then you
like
go,
vitamin water did for a while.
It's not healthy, though.
No, it's delicious. There's no way something that good is healthy.
It's so tasty.
But yeah, Nintendo's basically said it's going to be more iterative and it's not necessarily going to be like a full hardware boost. And I just don't know if that's smart because the Nintendo Switch is showing its age. The biggest complaint that people had against Tears of the Kingdom, as well designed and as artistic as it was, is that graphically it's not very impressive.
No.
And I think that, it feels like almost like a bro-y critique to be like, I want graphical fidelity. That's what I want, bro. But
bros are weird.
Those people are
bros
weird
have changed.
Too. But the thing is like there is something to be said about wanting better graphics and the capability of having a Pokemon game that doesn't stutter every time you look a mile into the distance, like the most recent one did as well.
I think that's fair enough to ask. And you can never release a game that is supposed to look realistic with dense graphics.
Yes.
They all have to be an offshoot of like a style of graphics.
Yeah.
Like Super Mario Wonder or Legend of Tears of the Kingdom.
Exactly.
It has to be something like that instead of like this wildly detailed, realistic, animation.
I mean,
stuff.
we're looking at the Nintendo Switch as a console that like struggles to play kind of like PlayStation 3 era games. Like it's not great. I do think we want something more. I don't know if this is going to be quite as small an upgrade as like the OLED Nintendo Switch. But we'll see. Is it going to be a significant enough bump in hardware that it's going to split the base of games? Like, will I be able to play old Nintendo Switch games on it? Not as like backwards compatible, but like as new things, or is it going to be like the Nintendo Switch, or sorry, the Xbox Series X and the Series S, where you just have a more powerful one and a less powerful one, but you can play any game on either of them?
Yeah.
I don't love that habit that it seems video game companies are getting into.
Yeah, that's funny you say that, because another big trend that I had among the games that we're going to talk about is remakes.
Oh yeah,
holy God,
tons of them.
Them.
Lots of success in previous years of remakes, and it's like why we saw it in Hollywood. I don't know why less remakes, although some remakes, and more just like the sequel syndrome.
Yeah.
But remakes have just been this kind of like proven thing of like, we know there's a fan base. We know we're going to get a guaranteed amount of buy-in. Why not do it?
Oh no, it's easier. It's easier to sell the thing. Like, do you know this thing? And I get it, because it's also in video games. Sequels have been around forever. You go 9, 10, 12 games deep into these things, even different than movies or television, So I get that part of it. But man, the remakes, it just kind of bothers me, because I'd love to see more original titles, and not even original titles, new titles from this same sequence of games.
I totally agree. This is why I'm way more interested in the indie space than the AAA space. And I know as of the Game Awards, there's been this whole weird conversation about what is an indie game. But I think everyone knows what I mean when I say that.
Yeah.
Just kind of like a more bite-sized game, maybe an 8 to 10 hour experience, smaller development teams, something that isn't this big flashy open world thing, I won't say any because some of them are on my list, but let's continue with our 2023 predictions and which ones I won't include on my list. So Hollow Knight 2 is one of them. Judas was one as well. We already kind of expected that it may not have shown up in 2023, so it's not a surprise that was pushed. We still don't know for sure if it's going to be in 2024 either. That won't be on my list. Stalker 2 was another one that was on my list that I was very excited for. And those are the 3 that I have on my list that I couldn't put on my upcoming one. Yeah.
Okay. I have some that I have named in the most anticipated list, but maybe not the category that you want to be in.
Okay.
So I've got a couple of them, but can I just say I did really well last year. Mm-hmm. My number 3 games, 4 games were all well regarded. Number 1 was Marvel Spider-Man 2.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Number 2, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, yeah. I've
heard
of it.
Number 3, Alan Wake 2.
Oh, great.
Number 4, Star Wars. It's Samwise and Star Wars got together.
Sounds honestly amazing.
That sounds pretty good. Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Oh, yeah.
So that was number 4. That's pretty good.
Those are good games.
Yeah.
Especially once they started to fix some of the glitches in Star Wars. I've been looking at that as a game that I might want to play, but they always go on deep discount. Like you can always eventually find it for like $29, and that's what I'm gonna wait for and then play it, because the first one was good. I enjoyed it.
I did too.
And this one might be worth my attention as well. But without further ado, Andrew, or do you have any other ones that were on your list that didn't show up, or do you want to save those because maybe
okay, I got one I'm going to talk about. I had Starfield that came out.
Oh yeah.
For whatever reason, you can talk about that. And then that'll be it. Those are the games. That was, so I got an official 5 games of my 10 came out last year.
Wow, and all the rest of them didn't.
No.
So afterwards, we'll talk about the ones that were on there and which ones are carryovers from the previous year. So let's go, Andrew. I've started the last few, so why don't you start us off with your 10? Are these in any particular order?
They're not.
Okay.
But I could tell you like 4 out of 5 thumbs, or or
exactly.
A bulging eye emoji or something like that. Okay, one that I'm really excited for. This is Windows only, so it will be an indie game. Is Skate Story.
Oh yeah, that looks great.
It looks great.
So
fucking good. So it's a game where you skateboard through the 9 layers of the underworld as this like cool crystallized dude. It looks unbelievable. I get to skateboard. Everyone knows that's a huge thing I love doing in video games.
Yeah. Not in real life because you hurt your shins so much.
No, absolutely. I've got bones like a bird. They're hollow.
Bones like a bird. Bones like
crunch.
A bird.
Oh no.
Oh no, not again.
Oh no, I fell.
I have wings.
Do you really?
Yeah, and that's why I'm like a bird. Mm-hmm. And why I don't need to skateboard.
You know why I'm like a bird? I once met Nelly Furtado.
And she always flies a bird.
Yeah, 100%. It's the first thing that caught my attention where I actually been, ever since I watched, oh my God, 50
so many trailers. Yeah.
And this was the one that like stuck to my attention. I was like, oh my God, this looks so good.
This one was on my honorable mentions list,
nice.
but not in my top 10.
Okay.
My list is a top 10. So I'm going to be going from bottom to top as we go here.
Well, do you want to just start and I'll jump in when I also was on that one too? So like you go with number 10.
Oh, yes.
And then I'll go. That's very interesting. I also had that on my list, so we could talk about it.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Do you want me to
like work together? Yeah.
Do my whole list?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll do that.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Sure, fine. You don't want to go back and forth?
We can go back and forth.
No, I don't want to.
What if I name something higher on your list?
Then I'll say we'll wait to talk about it. Okay. I don't want to step on your toes.
You're
I don't
not.
want you to step on my toes.
I'm being nice.
Every time we dance, you step on my toes. Can we not do that when we podcast?
Yeah. You should lead.
I don't know if you're gonna like that.
I wouldn't like it.
I'm
at
gonna
all.
flip you up and down, baby. I'm gonna
rock bottom me. And that's a finisher.
I'm gonna curtain call you. That's my dance move.
Oh wow, the curtain call. What a
Just
reference.
kick you right in the nuts.
Right in the nuts. Okay, very good.
Okay, so my number 10 is one that I don't think is going to be on your list.
Okay.
Because the last time I brought it up just in casual conversation, I think it was in a new trailer that released in the Summer of Games, and you were kind of like, really? Like you thought I was joking and I wasn't interested? It's Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm doing it again.
I know. Have you watched trailers for it and it just didn't?
I did watch a trailer for it, and it's one of these ones where this used to happen a lot more back in the day, so I shouldn't really say it now, but like that you'd watch a trailer and you go, I don't believe you. Yeah. Like, I don't believe that this is actually the game.
Oh,
you know,
it's like you think that they're making it up like a Killzone kind of thing where
like there's a huge disconnect between actual gameplay and then the thing that they're trying to sell you. So why are you excited for this game again?
So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know because I Space Marine 1, I literally zero interest in. Never looked at it, never hovered over the buy button, never looked at installing it. I've seen it on discount, didn't think about getting it. I don't really care about Warhammer either, but there's something about this kind of squad-based, chunky shooting mechanics that reminds me of like an early Gears of War.
Yeah.
And all the trailers kind of have that vibe to it. And I'm sure you'd ask then, why don't you just play Gears of War? And I think the Gears of War's kind of changed. A, I mean, we're not getting any new ones anymore, but B, it's changed from what I remember and what I liked about it in the first Gears of War to what we have now. It feels like an entirely different game that's less focused on like the chess match of finding cover and flanking and all that stuff, and it's a little bit more run and gun, and I think they base those changes in mechanics on what happened in the multiplayer. Like the thing, I don't know if did you ever play Gears of War when it first came out?
Yeah.
So there was this interesting thing playing it online where the multiplayer, people hadn't figured out how to game the system yet. And there's always a really fun era of a game when it comes out, when it's played the way the developers intended before people start to exploit it. And it was like you would be, 3 versus 3 or 4 versus 4 or whatever, and you'd be behind cover and one of you would try to flank and you'd catch someone off guard and you'd be picking them off from across the map until people realized the most efficient way to get anything done was to roll your way up to someone, blast them once with a shotgun or stick them with a sticky grenade, and that was it. And it just changed the whole pacing and mechanics of Gears of War. And then that ended up influencing the single player game, where it felt like most of what you did was kind of that type of pace, which I didn't love. I think Call of Duty probably had a similar issue to it. Anyway, Space Marine seems to be dialing it back a little bit, where there's a little bit more of those tactics to it, where you kind of pace yourself a little bit better instead of like that fast-paced stuff. The graphics look amazing. It seems like something I could sink my teeth into if I had a couple people who wanted to play it with me. You're just obviously not one of those people.
I will not be one of those people. Thank you very much. No,
you're welcome.
I don't know. If you tell me it's good, of course I'll play it.
No, I'm not going to tell you.
You're not going to tell me at all?
I'm not going to be your guinea pig, Edger.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
What's in it for me?
You get to enjoy a game. You're going to play it either way. Who cares?
Yeah, but I want you to suffer with me if it's not
there
good.
We go. He finally
it's knowing that you weren't willing to commit to just the time. You're like, I won't spend time doing something with you unless it benefits me. That's what you're saying right now.
Yeah, but no, because to play the opposite here, could you imagine going, this game sucks, do you want to play together? And I'm like, no.
But at least we experience that together and we laugh and we're like, this game's so bad, and then you hug me or something.
We could just hang out without this.
But Andrew, then we have to talk. I don't like that.
Mike and I have recently played Overcooked again together.
Oh yeah, it was so good.
And it's just so much fun.
We played Overcooked after our Century Club.
Oh yeah.
And we went straight to like the hard mode by mistake. We
continued drinking.
We continued drinking. Like, we went to the hard stuff after that.
Yeah.
We should have recorded that. That would have
been the real after hours. Yes. Yeah, on our Sunset at Patreon. Yeah,
man. Yeah, and we just kept looking at each other like, why is this game so hard to us right now?
And also, get on the fucking lettuce. So I'm not going to tell you again, Chef. Okay, so there you go. Warhammer and a bunch of numbers.
Yes,
for you, number 10. My one that this is another one that say we want. I keep watching this trailer for Black Myth Wukong.
Oh yeah.
It looks so good.
Black Myth Wukong was on my list last year as well.
Fuck off,
and
really?
It was something that I really considered. I didn't put on my list because it was on last year's list. But I didn't end up, even if it weren't, I wouldn't have put it on my top 10. What is it about this game that interests you?
So it's based on the 16th century Chinese novel Journey to the West, which is one of the world's most popular Buddhist folktales that has been used in a ton of movies and anime and video games in the past and stuff like that. And
yeah, you're so smart though, right?
I read that from somewhere.
No, I know, and you're just such a smart person, and that's why
Do you want me to agree with you? What's going on here?
Oh, no. I think you would just fucking love it if I said that about you. You're talking about 16th century and bullshit like that. Yeah. Well, let's keep it in the last 20 years.
20 years?
We're not all as smart as you, Andrew.
Wow. We can't even talk about 9/11 anymore. It's tough.
Wait, talk about what?
9/11.
I don't remember.
Oh no, I forgot. Oh no, you can never forget.
That was the one thing my dad told me before he got on that plane.
Haven't you seen a single bumper sticker ever?
God. I have seen one, and it said,
"Okay, what's it?
Honk if you're horny."
Yeah, and you're just laying on it. I don't know. It's a rich text to draw something from. Yeah. I think the animation style looks amazing, and the graphics look incredible. So it's one of those ones where I'm like, go on, like it's enough to get me in here.
100%. It's funny because it looks like it's positioning itself as kind of like a Souls-like. Yeah. And it's funny, like Jedi Survivor as well, or like the Star Wars games. Also kind of a Souls-like, maybe a little bit less of a barrier to entry because you're familiar with the IP, or Black Myth Wukong seems a little bit more interesting from like a familiarity standpoint because you're so familiar with 16th century China. But as much as I talk about these games that I love, like these actual FromSoft games, you're always looking towards like the Souls-likes, which is fascinating to me. I'm sure you're not the only one there because there's something familiar about it. So you're not up against like this mountain of lore that you have to deal with.
That's also true. Plus, the screenshot that I keep seeing is about a cat-like human in armor, and I'm like, pretty cool.
Why not?
Yeah, like say less.
I think it's a half like gorilla or half monkey or something like that. Human.
Oh, it also could be monkey. Yeah,
it looks like a Planet of the Apes monkey.
Yes,
looks like,
which is coming back this year.
Finally.
It's not the reaction I thought you'd have. It's not Matt Reeves doing it. That's the only downside.
Oh fuck.
And they're definitely like, these are like straight remakes of like the movies that were made in the 70s.
Do you think Matt Reeves didn't come back because he was like, every time he wanted to make a movie, he just kept getting so many notes and he's like, keep your hands off me, you damn dirty producers? Do you think he said something like that, Andrew?
Yeah, and they're like, we got to remove him from this project.
Let's bring back Mark Wahlberg.
I said this 6 times today.
No, Black Myth Wukong ultimately didn't end up on my list because I'm realizing I'm less and less interested in Souls-likes as a genre.
That's interesting.
Still good. It's just there's so many to choose from, and I know that I only have so much time, so I have to be selective over which ones I want to commit to.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Okay, cool. So what's going to be number 9 on your list?
So number 9 on my list is one that I really went back and forth as to whether or not to include it. It's a Ubisoft game, but they are the publisher, and it's a IP that I'm very familiar with. It's Star Wars, and it's an open world Star Wars game. Yeah. It's Star Wars Outlaws. Yes. The trailer looked very Ubisoft to me.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
For me personally, not a great thing. Yes. I know that Ubisoft makes a lot of games that a lot of people like, but I kind of find, and I've said this before on the podcast, that once you get to their sort of open world systems, they feel a little bit samey, not just to other Ubisoft games, but to the structure and style of most open world games that you get these days. So I don't know if I'm incredibly excited for it, with the exception of the fact that it's being developed by Massive Entertainment, who Ubisoft used for The Division, which felt different than a lot of other Ubisoft games. And I know you loved The Division.
I loved
1 and 2. Yeah. So I might be interested in it. It's Star Wars open world. The idea of just going into an open Star Wars world where you can go on speeders and get blasters and all that seems great in theory. The gameplay didn't completely grab me, but if they pull it off, I feel like it would be a lot of fun.
I would agree with you. Yeah, I had this one because this is something a lot of people are excited for. Going back to an open world Star Wars game, which a lot of people have both affection and familiarity with. I can totally understand that.
Yeah, that wasn't on your list, eh?
That is not on my list, unfortunately.
So why don't you give us your number 8?
Yes, I will give you my next one.
Oh yeah, right. In no particular order.
In no particular order.
Yeah.
How can I Sophie's choice all these games?
How can you Sophie's choice all these games?
Yeah, choose my favorite in front of Nazis. Okay, my next game is going to be Alone in the Dark.
Oh, great.
The David Harbour and Jodie Comer giving their character likeness. Yeah. This is kind of what I'm going with. If you didn't have to tell people the truth, it's like spooky LA Noire. There we go. That's what I'm going with. Because they are 1-for-1 recreations of them acting in these scenes. There are dots on their face and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it looks spooky as hell. And
it does. And what I what I find interesting about this is Alan Wake 2 was very high up on your most anticipated list, and it was one that eluded you towards the end of the year. Yeah. This being on your list is it seems like a similar concept where Alone in the Dark was always a little bit campy, just like Alan Wake is.
Totally.
And this is like, I believe, a remake of the first one, but with David Harbour and who's
Jodie Comer from what's that? The her and Sandro and the killing each other. Killing Eve.
Oh, Killing Eve. Yeah.
Very good.
So yeah, that seems exciting.
I have a few spooky games on my list, and I'm now looking at it like, I'm like, am I into something here?
Did we get into spooky games like the same way that I got into spicy foods? Like there's a part of me that needs that now.
How did you get into spicy foods though?
Because I had a meal that was, well, you were with me. We went to Nashville and we got hot chicken a couple years in a row, and it destroyed me to the point where people were laughing at me in the store. It was
one of the funniest days of my life. It was so funny that you were reacting so viscerally that people were pointing and looking at you and then laughing to their friends.
Yeah.
And it was like, great.
And they were so happy I was there, which felt great because I want to be loved.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter how I do it. I was like, do you want me to punch myself? Should I shit my pants? They were all like, don't do that. But you know, but then I started to fiend spicy foods, and now I love spicy foods. And we put ourselves through Retrograde, and we're playing all these scary games. Am I developing a tolerance to these things? This is what I wonder.
I wonder. The answer is yes. And I agree with you. Are we getting backdoored into this where it's like, well, we got to do it for the podcast. So that's why we're going to do it. And all of a sudden, it was kind of fun.
I kind of like it.
I kind of like the thrill.
Except when you play with me, I scare you more than the game does.
That has been very true and well established.
That has been very true.
Don't anti-Freud me here. Don't like
anti-Freud.
It's like antifreeze.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that is going to be my next game. Can you say your number was 8?
8. I will go with my number 8. My number 8, Andrew, is a game that I talked about at Summer Game Fest as well. Kind of an indie looking game. Reminds me of Firewatch meets HP Lovecraft. It still wakes the deep. It's a first person first person walking sim where you're aboard an oil rig, I believe, and you have to go under the water. And obviously when you're dealing with large bodies of water and horror, cosmic horror gets involved, and maybe a bit Lovecraftian themes, which I love. I absolutely love Lovecraft, and I love walking sims, and I love that slow plodding sort of spooky nature of it. So Still Wakes the Deep is one that I was expecting to come out at the end of 2023, but I think it got pushed to 24, and hopefully we get it soon. But it's currently listed as TBA, so we don't know.
I know. The worst part is I have dates against some of them, and I realize I haven't been reading them. And then when you get to the TBDs, you're like, yeah, TBD. Yeah.
The only one that had a date so far on my list was Warhammer. That's September 9th, so we still got a ways to go for that one. All the other ones are TBA.
Okay, awesome. All right, so that's your number 8.
That's my number 8.
Okay, my number 7 is going to be The Casting of Frank Stone.
Oh,
okay. So this is made by Jesus Christ, Andrew. Made by the Dead by Daylight developing team.
Yes. Yeah.
And can I just give you a little short analysis here?
Yeah.
It's an upcoming horror game by
analysis.
Supermassive.
Do I have to answer questions or do?
No, you just sit there.
It's not like an analysis of me.
No.
Oh, okay. Because
this doesn't involve you in the least.
So now I'm not interested.
I don't care.
Oh, okay.
The shadow of Frank Stone looms over Cedar Hills, a town forever altered by his violent past. As a group of young friends are about to discover, Stone's blood-soaked legacy cuts deep, leaving scars across families, generations, and the very fabric of reality itself.
Damn, dude.
Sounds pretty good, huh?
Chill pill, Frank Stone.
Fuck Frank Stone.
Frank Stone sounds like either the Punisher, or, which is Frank Castle.
Yes.
What castles are made of.
Stones.
Or Frank Grimes from The Simpsons.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because sometimes if you reach your hand into a pond and you pull out a stone, what's it made of? Or what's on it?
Water. Oh, grime. It's grimy.
It's grimy.
Yeah, which is what Homer calls it.
I think it's just that they use the name Frank.
Yeah.
That's why I'm comparing it to those two things.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Frank Stone also sounds like a hardboiled detective from a 70s thing.
That's absolutely true.
Hello, I'm Frank Stone. You're like, yeah, Frank Stone. Nice.
The only other thing that Frank reminds me of is like one of my favorite actors of all time.
Frank Stallone?
No.
Oh.
Well, he's a character that this actor played, who I think should return.
Frank Drebin? Leslie Nielsen?
That one as well.
Okay.
Just let him be Frank.
Just let me be Frank.
Just let him be Frank. He just wants to be Frank.
Wait, what?
He just wants to be Frank.
Is this the Kevin Spacey thing?
Yes.
Was his name Frank Underwood? I don't think so.
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Okay, wait.
That's why it's Let Me Be Frank.
I didn't know that from the Doughboys. Just in case you don't know the many different layers of Mikey's reference right here.
Wait, but no, it's Let Me Be Frank.
Oh, is it the Frank Underwood? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's Kevin Spacey doing the thing. He says, "Let me be Frank," but it's because he wants to be Frank from House of Cards.
Oh, okay. Just let me be frank. But it's also an expression about let me be honest.
Yes.
His name is Francis Underwood. You're right.
Yeah.
Francis Joseph Underwood.
See, he's clever. We should let him be back. We should let him be Frank.
I don't know. First question. What happened to Frank Underwood? He died in his sleep alone, poisoned by his right-hand man, Doug Stamper. Do you know how that show ended? Sorry, guys.
I don't know.
Who cares? If you kept watching that show after their life,
That's weird.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm so sorry. I wish I was more participatory in that.
Yeah.
Frank Stone.
The casting of
Frank Stone.
And he who cast the first stone is without sin.
Now that's a real thing. I like this. This is very good.
Yeah. Do you think that's why they did? I think they did. Casting of Frank Stone, casting of the first stone. Because it's supposed to be a game that contextualizes Dead by Daylight, and I think there was another game that developed. I can't remember. The Quarry or something like that.
Supermassive is the group that did it.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. Actually, now that you said, I had no idea. Yeah, that's actually
pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It might totally be it.
Yeah, you don't have to know 16th century China to be a clever little bastard, do you, huh?
Doesn't hurt.
You know what? You're not right.
Can I get number 7, please?
Number 7 on my list, Andrew, is a game that is apparently, hopefully, I can't imagine being delayed at this point, going to come out on January 18th. It's Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Prince of Persia meets Metroidvania, a game that I am very, very excited about.
You are?
I am.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Now I can do without the edgelordy kind of like weird style to it, but the mechanics that they've shown off and the fact that it's a Metroidvania and that I've been bereft of Hollow Knight 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if that word works.
I like it though.
Let's look back on a 16th century dictionary to see if I can thesaurus, see if I can use that.
I'm gonna ask a monkey in armor.
He's like, I just went bananas. I don't know.
I don't know why he's so regal looking, and then you ask him.
I want Hollow Knight. I want Metroidvanias. I love Metroidvanias. Prince of Persia seems like it's got a good push behind it, and I've been excited about it since I saw it in the summer of last year, as a lot of people have. So that one I'm going to be pretty pumped for.
That's interesting. It's not on my list because I'm a little cautious of it. But I know how much this franchise means to people, and so
see, that's what's funny is the franchise I don't care about. I didn't like Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. The original Prince of Persia I did play and I did like.
You liked the movie?
I didn't like the movie.
Oh, I thought you loved the movie.
Andrew, just don't tell them that.
That's my secret.
It's just anything Jake is in.
Oh,
I call him Jake. Fine.
Okay, wait. That actually is not a joke though. That like most things Jake Gyllenhaal's in, I'm like, hey, that's pretty good.
Source Code.
Source Code is the first thing you went to.
First and best, Andrew.
Wow. Mysterio and the Superman.
Honestly,
Spider-Man.
Amazing. Mysterio.
Yeah, he's
great.
good.
Did you see Warrior?
Yeah, Warrior.
Did you like it?
Warrior's good.
Oh, I feel like
the MMA movie.
It. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but he's not in that. But yeah,
isn't he?
No.
Oh no, he's in an upcoming.
No,
UFC
he's in
movie.
Southpaw. Oh, he's in Roadhouse. That is the Roadhouse thing. Is the UFC thing?
Really?
Yes, where he's in a UFC fight. I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't care. I will probably see it. Everyone's going to be like, it's dog shit. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's like just walking into the theater, just using a popcorn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown.
Okay. That
was my number 7.
My number, trick question. Don't have a number.
Very
good.
I didn't ask a question. So the tricky thing is that you're not, paying attention to me.
What do I want to go to next?
Oh.
You know what? I'm excited for the Mario versus Donkey Kong puzzle game.
I'm very intrigued by that.
It looks cute.
I'm very intrigued by it.
Yeah. I don't know. As long as we have our Switch Ones work and stuff like that, I think this will be totally something that I would get and play and, be curious by.
Here's the thing. I feel like I would have been a lot. Okay, no, I'll ask you this question actually. Are you more or less excited for Mario versus Donkey Kong in the shadow of Super Mario Wonder?
Oh man, that's interesting. I think it piques my interest more because I had such a good time with Super Mario.
That's the flip side of it. In my mind, I'm like, I just saw Mario on a 2D plane. Yes. It can't get any better than that. Why am I excited for Mario versus Donkey Kong? However, honestly, Super Mario Wonder, as well as Tears of the Kingdom, gave me this whole renewed faith in Nintendo. Not that they really needed it, but I'm just like, oh, right. They're unbelievable at making games.
Totally. They just released 2 certified bangers within months of each other.
And Pikmin 4 as well, and no one talks about it, even though it was apparently a fantastic game.
No, when I was traveling to Japan, I went to Japan last year. And
16th century. Oh boy, this guy.
It was China, racist. And and
where's that?
I don't know why I said that. When I was there, Pikmin 4 was coming out, and you would think it's the biggest game that's ever come out.
Oh, really?
Everywhere, just dripping Pikmin. And
dripping
Pikmin
is the grossest thing I've heard all year, and that's true because it's early in the year.
Yeah. You know when you don't shake enough.
Oh
you
yeah,
have a little thing on your pants. That's
yeah.
a Pikmin.
Excuse me, doctor. I've had this issue for the past couple. I just honestly like I've got toilet paper shoved in my underwear because I've been dripping Pikmin for the last couple days.
And the doctor's like, totally understand. Yeah, I'll get that fixed up for you. All right, come here. Snip, snip, snip. Yeah, you think that's the biggest game in the world, but you're right. We never talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a couple of Nintendo games we're probably going to talk about.
Yes.
Maybe one or two at least. And so it might be a very interesting year considering they're going back to these characters that everyone's so familiar with.
Yes.
Yeah.
The idea of Mario versus Donkey Kong really intrigued me. Watching some of the trailers, and I don't know if this is just the Nintendo Direct thing of over-explaining the game that they're presenting, because they always do that. Like when they're like, they're explaining Mario Golf, and they're like, select your club, choose your palette. It's like they're describing Lee Carvalho's putting challenge.
Yes.
I'm like, we understand the game of golf. You don't have to explain this to us. They're just like, look at this mysterious tail. Bring it down a floor. Now you can get across. And I'm like, are you making a game for children or what is happening? So that
How stupid do you think I am?
Yeah, the trailer almost like made me less interested, but I am very intrigued by Mario versus Donkey Kong. Which is going to come up in a prediction that I have for 2024, actually. My next game, which is my 6th game, is Hyper Light Breaker, another TBA game. Hyper Light Drifter is one of my favorite games of all time. What did I like about Hyper Light Drifter? Andrew, and let me just
what club do you want to choose? You're pretty stupid. Hey. You imagine that voice does that to you? Golf is when you hit the ball forward, you stupid idiot.
The sand trap should be avoided, dipshit.
Stop eating sand.
I thought you would have learned your lesson from hitting the ball into the water the first time. What did I like about Hyper Light Drifter, Andrew? I loved the isometric perspective.
Yes, you did.
I loved the exploration. I loved what I consider to be perfectly designed levels. I loved the combat. I loved the story. I loved the environmental storytelling as an element of the story.
Yep.
The reason why this game isn't number 1 on my list,
I was going to say,
is because I'm very nervous about some of the choices that they've made. It is a 3D game.
Mm-hmm.
It is there's an emphasis on procedural generation, which is understandable in like a roguelite or something like that, where you're constantly going to the same place and redoing similar things. But there's an element of loot, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm worried that the game is going to be like combat arena focused.
Yeah.
And as much as I loved the combat of Hyper Light Drifter, it was secondary to everything else. And I thought that the way you explored and the way that they signaled like Easter eggs and explorable areas in the world visually in Hyper Light Drifter was unmatched, but it comes at the cost of having like very curated levels. So procedural generation feels like you can't do it with that. Okay. It's not going to feel as good to explore. And the element of going back for loot also worries me a little bit. I think that they're probably still going to make an unbelievable game, but my skepticism is what prevents this from being much higher on my list.
Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't higher on your list because you liked that first game so much.
I love that game so much. Yeah.
And obviously that's on my list as well. Like it's something that I knew you're going to want to talk about.
Oh, it is on there. Sweet.
Yeah. I got a few things that I'm holding because I think you will definitely have them on your list.
Perfect.
I think I know what your number 1's going to be.
Oh, I think I know what your number 1's going to be, even though it's not a number 1.
I don't have number 1. Okay. My next one. Well, I had this on the list. Do you want to go again? Because I already had that.
That was okay. Yeah, sure. See, you know what I think you should do now that you have a Switch though?
Yeah.
Is play Hyper Light Drifter.
Sure.
Because it's kind of a bite-sized game. It's a perfect handheld game.
Oh.
It's challenging in a way that isn't frustrating, which I always love. Like the first time you get a combat encounter, you're like, this game's gonna be fucking impossible. And by the end of it, you're like making short work of those sorts of encounters. Yeah. But I always love that kind of progression. So I highly recommend that game if you have time to play it. Next one on my list is my number 5 is Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree.
Oh.
Which I'm considering to be a release. I think this game is going to be big, even though it's technically DLC in its current form.
Yeah.
I've heard rumors or speculation that it might end up being more than that. Like maybe like a budget release, but more like a full, like a Miles Morales kind of thing.
Yes.
But you know, it's Elden Ring. And as much as I had issues with Elden Ring, like get me back into a FromSoft game, I'm excited about it. You know, show me a little bit more of the story. Let me re-roll a character or something like that. I'm into it. That's very exciting to me.
That's interesting. That like, I should have seen that coming that you'd have that on there. But you're right. What is DLC and what's a separate game?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
You know, like Phantom
cares?
Liberty is kind of the same thing where it's like you get these games that basically release mods to the game with entire new hours-long stories. And is that DLC or is that an expansion pack or something in between? I don't know, but that's kind of what I'm expecting from Shadow of the Erdtree. And I think that if we get that, I'll be ecstatic about it.
Okay. Well, there you go. And that's your number 5.
That is
6?
my number 5. Yes.
5.
Yes.
Number 5. All right. I'm going to go back-to-back Nintendo here. Let me know if it's on your list.
Okay.
Paper Mario, The Thousand-Year Door.
It's not on my list.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Paper Mario never interested me the way that Paper Mario interested a lot of people. I did play it. Same way that I didn't love Super Mario RPG as much as other people. Held respect for it. But as a kid growing up, Super Mario RPG was like not what I wanted out of Mario.
Yeah.
Paper Mario was cool and cute and quirky. Also kind of just like at an era where I wasn't as interested in Mario games.
That you weren't cute as quirky, right?
No, I was in my puberty phase, Andrew.
Yeah.
I was ugly.
Listen to Panic at the Disco.
That wasn't just my puberty phase, Andrew. That was my
lifestyle.
That's my slang and dong age.
Oh my God.
It's my slang and dong age, Andrew. What are you going to call it?
What age is that?
How old am I right now?
30.
30. Babe. How old were we when we had sex? I'll get back to you.
I'll get back to you when it happens.
Yeah.
I found that the Paper Mario has been some of the better writing that the Mario games have ever done.
100% true.
And so I'm curious to see, with the budgets being bigger and more development time and what they're able to do with video games, if they could push Mario in a completely different direction. Again, what a big year, what a big calendar year for Mario, between the movie, Wonder, and now this, doing kind of very different things.
That's true.
You know,
Mario is becoming its own. I mean, it was always a brand, but you're so right. Like, there are so many different facets of Mario. Mario versus Donkey Kong. Yep. We got Super Mario Wonder, the movie, this. There's so many new, and then Super Mario RPG obviously coming back out on the Switch Online.
Yep.
Yeah, they're really cashing in. Isn't it interesting, Andrew?
Oh, okay.
At a time when Disney is struggling to understand what the purpose of its most iconic mascot is, Nintendo knows exactly what they're doing with theirs.
Yeah.
Like Mickey Mouse. Like, what the fuck is Disney doing with them?
Yeah, Michael Mouse. Yeah.
Michael J. Mouse.
Not Fox. No. That's a really good comparison. Yeah, then again, like, Disney deserves absolutely no, we should feel bad for them.
No.
They couldn't figure out what to do for the last 40 years with Mickey. Like, what, you know?
I don't know that anyone's feeling bad for them. I feel like we're watching a car crash in slow motion. It's fantastic.
I know, but they have to fight these things because that 100-year goes back into public domain. 1934 is Superman. 1936 is Batman. Like,
but okay, so how does that work with, it's like, even if you've continued to make
Mikey? I should not ask me these questions. I have no idea when you're like, okay, so wait. And I'm like I'm some kind of copyright lawyer. I'm like,
I read a title somewhere, Andrew.
There was a slideshow that I read about this. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, but like, you do, yes, you need to show some kind of relevance, but I can't tell if that is like movie rights that Sony needs to use Spider-Man movies or they lose the rights to it. I don't know if that is the same thing with public domain. I don't know.
Yeah. Clearly they're pushing it. They've been talking about making a Mickey Mouse movie, and I would assume that would kind of kick the can forward a few years in terms of their ownership over it, but who the fuck knows?
And also a movie, like, can they not make a TV show? Can they make a video game?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know. See, a bunch of questions. If you're a copyright lawyer out there or have any idea what you're talking about, let us know.
We didn't do anything. Oh, wait, what did you just
used to saying that to lawyers?
We didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not about you.
Don't look in the closet.
It's about Michael Mouse.
Yeah. Michael J. Mouse. There is no elephant in the closet. I told you that already.
Elephants are scared of mice. Watch out.
Oh, true. Okay, so my number 4, Andrew.
4.
We're getting into some bangers. Reminders that this year is going to be great for gaming for a few reasons. I hope that this game keeps slated. It was just recently announced. However, still TBA. What gives me hope is that its prequel has been getting constant DLC updates over the last couple of years. Last year, Rise of the Golden Idol. a reimagination of Case of the Golden Idol, which is one of my favorite games of the last 10, 15 years. I fucking love that game. I played all the DLCs, and it looks like this is a reimagination of that formula, possibly in 3D. My concern for this game is that they make it more of a space not space like out there in space, but like exploring your space, moving around in space.
I see.
What I like about Case of the Golden Idol, and something that I disliked about a game that I just beat called Chance of Sinar, is in order to solve the puzzles, you have to physically walk to different spaces, and sometimes you're just spending like 5 minutes traversing from one area to another to try out a hypothesis on like a puzzle solution. Whereas Case of the Golden Idol, you just like, you're there immediately. And I'm like, let me focus on the puzzles, not arbitrarily walking around space. So if they manage to keep that pacing done properly in Rise of the Golden Idol, I would be ecstatic about that, and I would love to see the release of that game get a ton of attention because Case of the Golden Idol was so good.
Yeah, you loved it so much.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. My game of the year last, not 2023, 2022.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. That's what it was. Okay, so that was your number 4. Okay, this one's an interesting one only because I am just curious more that like anticipated, like, oh, I just can't wait to see what this is gonna like. John Carpenter's Toxic Commando.
Yeah, I hoped you would pick that one.
Yeah,
because it speaks to your love of like the Left 4 Dead kind of things as well. Yeah.
The thing about the John Carpenter part of it is John Carpenter fucking loves video games.
Yes, and basketball.
His quote is, "All I want to do is play video games and watch basketball."
Yeah,
which a man after my own heart.
Yes.
So I really do think if he puts his name on it, there's a downside to this too, that he would be like, "Well, I play video games. This is going to be pretty good."
Yeah.
Downside is John Carpenter also loves money.
He does.
He really, oh my God,
money.
He loves money so much.
Which is weird because like you would think if you loved money so much, like I know trades give you like a comfortable living, but like a carpenter, you should make movies or something.
Yeah. John Carpenter, Jesus Christ. What's next? Yeah, famous carpenters. Harrison Ford.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They should all get into a different profession if they love money so much.
Do you imagine you're George Lucas and he shows up that he's going to repair something and he's just staring at him like, are you fucking kidding? Have you ever tried acting? He goes, no. And it's like, can you?
You really should.
I'm going to cast you in something.
I'm going to change your life.
Yeah. You won't believe what I'm about to do.
First, take off your shirt though. You're like, oh boy.
I just can't imagine. You're a movie director. You're like, well, I can't wait to cast my new movie. And this guy walks into the door like, I heard you need your floors replaced. And you're like, Jesus Christ. Holy shit. You're just
this carpenter was Jesus Christ?
Yeah, honestly, at this point, I would turn religious if that happened. I'd be like, someone's looking out for me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I've always thought about that.
For me, I would thank the Metachlorians, I think, and I would start to write those into my movies.
Yeah, 100%. Yes. What would they think about the taxes of the outer world?
Spice trade rates.
Yeah. So there's a downside to that too, where he might be like, fuck, I don't care.
Yeah.
Give me $200,000. You put my name on anything. And so I don't know. It's one or the other, but you're right. It's things that I like: killing zombies, cooperative play.
Yep.
And I'm very excited by that because the Toxic Avenger and that storyline in the comic books by Dark Horse is very interesting. Yep. So I know it could go two ways on this one.
It definitely could. It's one of those like high risk, high reward things. Like, let's get his name behind it. It's like when Spielberg started talking about making games, like he made Boom Blocks, which a game, by the way, which came and went on the Wii, and some people loved it, whatever. But everyone kept talking about Roblox, and I forgot that his game wasn't called Roblox, that it was called Boom Blocks. And I was like, that game's still around, eh?
Yeah.
I'm still really obsessed with Boom Blocks. Weird.
Roblox is clearly the first generation of things where I don't know.
I don't know.
Like at least Minecraft, which is not my thing. I am very aware of what Minecraft is and it looks like and why it was so popular or whatever. Roblox, if you showed me screenshots of things, I don't know if I could identify it.
I totally agree with that. It's every time I talk to people, this is going to sound weird.
Yeah, say it. I knew this is what you were going to say it.
Every time I talk to kids and I'm like, you like video games?
I'm talking to a 6-year-old and I'm like, do you like Roblox?
And they're like, yes, I love Roblox. It's the one time I can't be like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like I usually I can converse with 6-year-olds on this sort of thing. I'm talking mainly about my cousins.
Yes. I don't know if I ever told this story on the thing, but on the podcast, but I was playing with my player one's little cousin. I guess now my cousin, I think that's how it works, but whatever and we were playing and he saw him playing Fortnite. And I looked at him and I was like, did I tell the story on the podcast?
I think you did. No, tell it again. Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, hey, I'll play you. Yeah. Let's play. And he's like, and so we're playing and I think I was playing well. I think I eliminated a few people and he goes, if you beat me, I'm going to report you and then you won't be able to play on your account and everyone's going to like think less of you or so. And they like kept going and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Wow, they're raising a fucking snitch over there.
Jesus Christ, maniacal little bastard. And I think that's modern day kids because every time you could hear in a microphone, it's always like, ah!
Yeah, like, I wonder if that's a healthy release of energy or no.
I would say no.
But at least they're getting it out.
That's true. Yeah, it's better than, I don't know, something worse that I don't probably want to say out loud.
Say it out loud.
Torturing a cat.
Don't fuck with cats.
Yeah, don't fuck with cats.
Don't fuck with
Absolutely. So what's your number 3?
My number 3, Andrew, is a game that I like to call, and actually I found out a lot of people like to call it, Hades 2.
That's only number 3, eh?
It's number 3.
I thought it was going to be higher.
Now, don't get me wrong. I am very excited for it. We're starting to get into a territory of games that are not only look great, but are original. Yeah. And I think Hades, when it came out, had a big element of originality, but I feel like I've already played it, Hades 2, and I'm just kind of like getting like a new excuse to play, like to refresh the Hades formula, which is great. Totally excited about that. It doesn't get the number 2 or the number 1 spot for that reason. It is a sequel, and I always like to give a little bit of preference to games that are coming out of nowhere with like something brand new. But still, it's so fun. I got back into Hades a few months ago just to like see if I could work my way out of the underworld again. And man, that game is still so much fun. It is just what a good formula. The combat feels so crisp and clean and satisfying, and the story's great, and you feel like you're never gonna run out of dialogue options with all the other characters in it. You're excited when you die because you get to talk to your friends again and see what's changed. Hades 2 promises all that again. I think there's multiple playable characters, or at least 2 protagonists, so that's going to be exciting as well. Can't wait. Yeah, very excited.
I know. I don't blame you. I knew that this was going to be really high on the list. It looks great.
Is it on your list as well?
It was. Yeah, it's one of the games I had listed for.
That's
sure.
amazing.
So, yeah. I was more like saving for you to talk about it because I know how much you loved the first
Hades.
one.
Hades 1 is another one that you should spend time with on the Switch. The Switch is like the perfect platform for it. Oh, yeah. It's great as like a handheld kind of like turn it on, turn it off, put it into sleep, pick it up where you left off,
put it down.
If you want to put it down, you can, but you don't have to.
Twist it,
pull it.
Yep.
Speaking of little kids again, when I was
pull it.
No. Twist it. After twist it.
Twist it. Okay.
Yeah. Then pass it. I was visiting my cousins in British Columbia, lovely British Columbia, Canada.
Beautiful
and
province.
One of my cousins had a Bop It style thing, but it was R2D2. So yeah, you would like bop the top of his head or twist his head or pull his legs. Yeah, it was great. It was great. Nice. And he gives it to me, and he was so smug. And he's like, fucking give it a shot, old man. I dare you.
Yeah.
This is the same cousin who was like, you should be a rock star when you grow up, which I told that
because
story.
You played?
No, because I played Rock Band.
Yes.
So well. Because I played maps on hard, not even expert.
The IAS?
Yeah.
Very good.
And so he gives me this Bop It thing. He's just trying to stunt on me, and I'm not letting him. And I go, and I am, Andrew, I'm telling you, like, I'm fucking killing this game.
Yeah.
I'm unstoppable.
Right.
And you know how I know I'm unstoppable? Because he physically tries to stop me.
Yeah.
He's yelling things so I can't hear. He's pulling on my arm as I'm pulling on R2D2's legs. I fucking smoked his record.
Yeah, right.
I smoked his record, and he was so upset.
Yeah.
But
kids handle these things well.
You're right. Yeah. They handle it real well.
Yeah, real well.
You know who handled it better? Me. Fucking rubbed it in his face for the rest of the weekend. Hey, remember that? What was your record? 23, huh? Try 67.
Yeah.
That's when he was, I purposely, I was like, I can't do this to you. But anyway, that kid's going to be playing that thing for the next 3 years, and he's not going to beat his record. I can't wait to see him try.
It'd have been great if you spiked it to the ground to break it after you broke the record and be like, never doing. Well, see you later. My record forever now.
Whatever R2 sounds like.
So that's your number 3 is Hades 2. Would you want to talk about a little game called Little Nightmares 3?
It's not on my list.
Wow.
It's not on my list, but it's definitely an honorable mention. So go for it.
We had a great time with Little Nightmares 2. We played it on the podcast. And
speaking of them visiting my little cousins,
Little Nightmares 3.
I'm kidding, they're great.
Yeah.
Just in case they're listening.
Yeah. Please don't hurt me.
But fuck your Bop It record, baby.
We played it on the last podcast. It's really imaginative. It's really beautifully curated and created. Like the little choices aesthetically that they use. Yeah. It really creates this little world that you both have empathy for. You feel for these characters, but at the same time, it is very like off-putting. Like it's scary a little bit. And I can't wait to see how they develop the story, progress it further. And it's not one of the ones where you're like, they're gonna do it again. You're like, if they do it again, that's pretty good.
Yeah, each of the entries are short enough that I feel like there's way more that they can do with it. I loved Little Nightmares 1. I loved Little Nightmares 2. It seemed that it got almost more imaginative. Number 2 did. The only thing that you worry about is burning out on the concept, but I think that they can do a good enough job of creating a new set piece and story that we're interested in. It's almost like if Guillermo del Toro made a video game, the Little Nightmares.
He was in one.
Oh, he was. Yes, of course. He was in a shower with me as Sam Porter Bridges. What if, like, imagine telling, I don't know how this would work because these actors didn't come along until later, but imagine telling like your younger self who's sitting down and playing Mario, one day you will be Norman Reedus in a shower and Guillermo del Toro will barge his way in and talk to you in first person. Water dripping down his face.
And then you'd be like, first of all, who's Guillermo del Toro? He sounds important. He's like, he is.
He's very important.
He won an Oscar.
Yes.
For not his best movie.
That seems to be how Oscars are given out for the most part.
That's true. We're not very good at giving at the time.
Yes.
Martin Scorsese had to wait till The Departed to win an Oscar.
Departed?
Yeah. You're right. That's true. And then you're like, have you ever heard of the channel AMC? They go, no. And you go, well, I'm going to blow your fucking mind.
Have you seen Ride with Norman Reedus? No. What about The Walking Dead? I always lead off with Ride because that seems like the one. Do you know that show is still on?
Ride
with Norman Reedus is still on.
I'm going to look up how many seasons this has been.
We should start a podcast about Ride with Norman Reedus.
Yeah, we should.
What a way to get picked up. Chris Hardwick? No. AMC doesn't need you anymore.
No.
It's Mikey and Andrew talking Ride with Norman Reedus.
How is it still on the air? What did they do? They just ride different locations? Because it's more like a documentary. It's not a...
Yeah, it's more like drive-ins, diners, and dives or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, Ride with Norman Reedus, here you go, is an American docuseries that premiered on AMC in 2016.
Whoa, wait, what?
The series follows actor and motorcycle enthusiast Norman Reedus as he and a guest of the week travel across a destination on a motorcycle while exploring the city's biker culture and checking out various locales. 6 seasons, 34 episodes. Wait, what? That math doesn't work. Oh, no, probably COVID. Whatever.
That sounds like men on motorcycles getting mocha. That's what it should be called.
Hey. What kind of coffee do you like drinking? Wow. Okay. I just find this all very interesting.
It is very interesting.
I'm just looking up which guests he invited. Balthazar Getty. Oh boy. Not great guests. Sorry. I'm trying to find one relevant. Mastodon guitarist Brent Hines. Easy Rider actor Peter Fonda.
Okay,
that's as good for motorcycle as it gets.
I'm Peter Fonda. I'm pretty fond of him.
Yep. Sorry, this
has been the Retrograde podcast.
We're not going to get to number 1. Thank you very much.
My number two, speaking of, is a game that I don't know how to describe it apart from the fact that it's like you're pretty much a car and you're going across the United States. It's kind of apocalyptic. You never know what circumstances you're going to get to. It's almost roguelite-ish where every journey that you take is procedurally generated. It's called Pacific Ride.
Oh, I don't know this game.
Or sorry, Pacific Drive.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's a game that I've been looking forward to since last year. I really hope it gets a release this year. It's saying February 22nd, and I just don't want it to. I don't want it to be like an early access thing that lingers on too long.
Yeah.
But you have to maintain your car. You need to get from point A to point B, almost like an Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Except you're making sure your car has like enough gas. You got to go do some exploration. You got to be a mechanic to your car, almost like a Choo Choo Charles kind of thing. How that works,
to make sure your car doesn't get consumption. You know.
Die of dysentery.
Yeah.
Where maintaining the car ensures you can get farther. Looking for supplies is dangerous. You might find yourself in like a zombie scenario or just along a big desert where your car is going to break down. But it's like a vehicular exploration sim of some sort.
Interesting.
It looks really, really cool, and it might suck, but I just want more companies to make big swings like this.
100%.
That's what gets me excited. I want to play.
That's what revs your engine.
That Andrew.
Thank you.
Now you and me need to get on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of Ride with Norman Reedus, Pacific Drive kind of sounds like it.
100%. Wouldn't it be funny if they shared the same motorcycle though? Like Norman Reedus goes like, hey, just pick you up, and he's like, hop on.
No. The other guy drives Norman Reedus on the back. Just asking him questions.
You're doing a barrel job. You're doing a bad job.
So have you ever driven a motorcycle before?
No.
Okay, you're gonna turn the engine on.
So that's your number 2, where you are a car. Number one for you is coming up in a second. Another game I wanted to talk about, I don't know if it's probably not going to be on our list, is Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy. It's the newest trilogy for Phoenix Wright.
Phoenix Wright.
Phoenix Wright is back. In
Phoenix
hog
Wright's
form. Yeah, it's I don't know. It just feels like we are now at a time where these style of games would be more tolerated.
Yeah.
To take bigger swings story-wise, to not have as much gameplay, to not really rely on anything, but just to follow along an interesting story and be a participant in it. And I think it makes total sense for it to come back.
I've always loved the Phoenix Wright games. I love that formula. I love that old like DS era of games where it was kind of simplistic, almost like a visual novel sort of thing. But there is that input that you as the player have.
Yep.
The writing in Phoenix Wright is what keeps that game going.
Yeah.
And has for so many years, and I think if they can kind of revitalize it and bring it back into the modern day, I think we're in for a treat.
Yeah, I think so too. It was something I just wanted to mention before we get to your number 1 and our surprises and disappointments.
Okay, my number 1, Andrew, a game that I've been waiting for since last year at least. Something that I've been thinking of all day, every day, pretty much. I'm surprised it wasn't on your list. A game that I think is going to take the world by storm, and I see no reason why it's not going to be game of the year. Almost a shoe-in. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
No. Oh my God. Oh, that is so funny. We've mentioned that game so many fucking times, and every time we mention it, it's more like in reality just like dropping.
Yeah.
Like people are like, it's gonna suck, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's gonna suck. My actual number 1 is the Plucky Squire.
Oh,
which
okay.
I'm surprised wasn't on your list.
Right.
The Plucky Squire is the one that looks like it kind of jumps in and out of like storybooks.
Yes.
You as the titular Plucky Squire can move through like drawings and notebooks and coffee cups, and you're kind of making your way through this gorgeous looking 3D rendered world. But in that world, like on top of a desk, there will be a storybook, and you have to make your way through the pages, and the art style changes and the combat changes.
Yes.
Again, I talk about imagination and like just playing these new looking games, something that I've never seen before. This game looks incredible.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be an absolute treat.
And just to make it clear, when Mike is saying works through the book, like you are walking on the desk and then you sink into the book and you're in the animation style of the cover as you move across the cover.
Yeah.
And then the coffee mug, you're saying like it's the drawing on the coffee mug that you're now part of the coffee mug. It just blows your mind.
It really does.
It really shows you like, man, could video games be this?
This is the kind of thing that makes me like, it's TBA. It was originally supposed to be 2023. You can't find any indication of a release date anywhere. And I'm like, push this as long as you need.
100%.
Because I feel like the more they develop, the more ideas they get about development and things they can do and trying to streamline it and make it feel good. Do all that you want. I'm not in a rush as much as I'd love to play it today. I want this to be as good as I think it can potentially be. And I'm glad that this is coming from a studio that perhaps doesn't have the external pressures of just bringing it to a console like ASAP. Make it good, bring it out, ecstatic about it.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's a great choice for number 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to, what do you want to do? Disappointing or surprises?
Let's do disappointment of the year first, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. You want to go?
Sure, I will go first. Okay, my disappointment of the year, I actually think is going to be. Which one do I want to say first here?
I have a couple too.
I'm going to say I think my disappointment of the year is actually going to be Avowed.
Oh,
Avowed is a game that seems to be, and it's not necessarily because I think it's going to be a bad game. It just seems to be on everyone's list, and it seems to be like people's almost like number 1 expected game to be great, but I just don't know that it's got the push behind it to become this massive game that everyone loves. I don't want it to fail, but I think that these open world games that kind of borrow from Skyrim because we have this great memory of it, but I just don't know that formula works in its full state. And I think it's going to take something very special from a developer that I don't know has the push behind it to create something truly unbelievable. They've had some hits, they've had some misses, but I'm curious to see if it's good. I hope it is, but I worry that it's going to kind of come and go and be almost like a Starfield of this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So for my disappointments of the year, I could name you a couple like runners up, just because I can name you the Suicide Squad that I had on last year's most anticipated list.
But do you think, I don't think it's possible that game is a disappointment now because I think everyone expects it to be bad.
I guess so. I guess you have to be kind of like hardwired into video games. When they release a Suicide Squad game, people will be like, oh, that's whatever.
And you're like, yeah, it's going to be great.
100%. The other one I had on last year's list that I think is going to be disappointment is Skull and Bones.
Oh, yeah.
As I wrote last year, Pirates motherfucker, but this game has been delayed for almost 5 years now.
And they've had a closed beta that went out. Our friend Ken from the Pixelated Thoughts podcast on his YouTube channel got invited to the closed beta and he reviewed it. It did not look good. It looked bad.
So my real disappointment of the year, is going to be Arc 2.
Oh, okay. Vin Diesel special.
Oh, Vin Diesel's in it?
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, I think it's going to be good now.
Take it off the list.
It's a survival thing about dinosaurs. The 2023 glitchy remaster Ark Survival Ascended was incredibly disappointing. Yeah. I have no hope that this is going to be any good at all.
It felt like they leaned into a celebrity endorsement to try to get more attention. I know a lot of people who actually they're like, there's something to this game. Like it could be good, but I worry that we're just kind of putting bad money after good or good money after bad. And,
yeah. Another one where a guy really likes video games, and yet I have no hope this is going to be good.
Yeah. Okay, so my surprise of the year. Apart from Pacific Drive, which I have on the list, I think this is a game that people don't know they're going to love.
But
I wanted to go from off of my list as like a potential surprise. I think that Princess Peach Showtime is going to be this come from nowhere game that people are truly enamored by and didn't expect to be in the first place. Like I know a lot of people are excited about it, but just looking at the trailer, it looks like it takes like for Nintendo to have a game that it has like a cake baking simulator and you're on stage and it looks like every level is like almost a different game. It looks like it could be really, really cool.
Yeah. I had that on my most anticipated list. I just named too many Nintendo games and had to switch it up a little bit, but I completely agree with you. I think it's really good. One of the surprises of the year, I've got two.
Sure.
The first one's Baby Steps.
Oh,
it's from the creators of Getting Over It and Ape It. You nudge an unemployed fail son through forest, streams, and bridges, and it's a physics-based gameplay. It looks hilarious.
It does look hilarious, this one. If you don't know about it, definitely go up and watch some trailers of it. It worries me because and I said this after we played Totally Reliable Delivery Service. Like the first time we played it was unbelievable. Every subsequent time I've gone back to play it, I haven't liked it. Fall Guys did the physics-based thing. Party Animals did the physics-based thing. And I'm kind of over that as a challenge mechanism. The one thing that gives me faith in it is that Getting Over It was kind of a wacky physics-based thing too, but at the heart of it were very consistent and reliable controls. So I think in the way that you can master Getting Over It, and you couldn't master Totally Reliable Delivery Service. I think if they have the same capabilities in Baby Steps, I think it could be really good. But that's a very much a wait and see for me.
Okay. There you go. Do you have any more surprises, or do you want me to say my other one?
No, say your other one.
Okay, my other one is Death Trick Double Blind. Now,
what is this?
You haven't heard this?
I don't know if I have.
Right. It's a detective visual novel, and I cannot stress this enough. You are alternating between a private investigator and a magician to analyze a traveling circus's star disappearance.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Come on.
This sounds awesome.
Get out of it. You get to do magic.
What era is this?
It's like the 20s or something.
Oh God, that sounds amazing.
I
love that.
Oh, when I read that there, I was like, I don't care how bad this game is. I'm going to love it.
I love the fact that people, visual novels have been done 1,000 times over, but let's get weird with it. Let's get fucking weird and see what works. Let me just go on some of my honorable mentions here. Contra, Operation Galaga.
I thought that was gonna be
looks amazing. It almost did make my list. Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden, comes out February 13th. It's made by the Life is Strange developers, which is kind of another visual novel, but it looks like this is more of an action adventure, and it looks really good in that case because I liked Life is Strange, the story that it was telling, but I found it a little bit plodding. So if you add some combat to it or some more action, I might be a little bit more interested. Tekken 8 on neither of our lists. We're not really fighting boys. Avowed, I already mentioned. South Park Snow Day. I love the South Park games, but this looks like a weird arena combat kind of thing, and I'm not quite as into that. Final Fantasy Rebirth is like the notable absent pick from us. I know people are incredibly excited about it. I'm just not a huge Final Fantasy fan.
No.
The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered almost made my list because I want to play that roguelike element
I did too,
or whatever that is. So I might, and it's like a $10, $15 upgrade if you already have the game. So I might do that. And then here's the one that I think may be my personal surprise of the year. I'm really going to give it a go to try to get into Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Yakuza games I've always bounced off of a little bit. I completely understand the appeal. I just haven't been pulled in by any of them yet. And I feel like maybe a modern one might be the option. I've seen the videos. They look fucking hilarious. The combat looks great.
Yeah.
And the styling of a Yakuza game is always very intriguing to me. So that might be the one.
Well, there you go. Okay. So those are our lists. Many, many games to get excited for or be disappointed by.
Yeah.
Coming out in 2024. We hope. That's a big one. That's a big caveat on all this. We hope.
We hope. I thought you were going to say we hope to see you again soon. I thought that's what you were going to say. Because you usually say that. But
stole the words right out of my mouth. But first, I want to tell them that we love every single one of you. And we can't wait to talk to you soon. Happy 2024, everyone. I hope everyone's having a good new year. And we can't wait to talk to you soon. My name is Andrew Bassman. With me, as always, is the bad boy podcasting, Mr. Bebop himself,
Mikey Aaronworth.
This is the Retrograde Podcast.
Game over. You know what I'm excited for right here?
What was that?
You get the fuck out of here.
Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, you mean now?
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
Okay, you ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it.